We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows.
Okay, starting off with probably one of my favorite things to make in a slow cooker ever. It's my slow cooker sticky barbecue chicken. Now, I make this extremely savory, so it's got lots of soy sauce in, teriyaki flavors, sesame seed oil, so it's kind of an Asian barbecue flavor. For me, this one really is a dump and go slow cooker type meal. You really can just put this all in the slow cooker in the morning and leave it for the day. Now, because there's lots of honey in, we do need to be careful with the burning rate. So I always cook this on low and slow rather than the high temperature setting. Now, it is up to you. You can pre-fry the onion and garlic, but I just don't on this one. This really is a dump and go recipe. Once you've added all the ingredients, I've left the basic ingredients on the screen, but you will need to taste test this quite a few hours after. If you want it more savory or more sweet, or if it needs like a little bit of a punch, add some chili peppers, chili flakes. As you can see, after about 3 to 4 hours, the chicken is absolutely falling apart. Now, with this recipe, you can add lots of hidden veg, so I do grate lots and lots of carrots and put that in there. It's just added fiber, and because it's a pulled chicken recipe, the carrot goes perfectly with this. You can see I do also top up with hot water from the kettle throughout the day, and it does have a good amount of fat in there because fat will stop it from going dry, the chicken from going dry. Also, to combat this, I do actually use chicken thighs. I generally only cook with chicken thighs, to be honest, but keep it topped up with hot water throughout the day. I only checked on it twice throughout the day and it was on for about 8 hours. I made sure there was butter in there and hot water, lots of tomato puree, and near the end, for about half an hour near the end, I sprinkled sesame seeds in and it was ready. It pulls apart. It is so delicious and savory. Now, this is absolutely fantastic for leftovers. I've not actually ever frozen these leftovers, so I'm not sure how it does in the freezer. But what we tend to do is make this for dinner as wraps one night. So we make it as salad wraps, pulled chicken salad wraps, plenty of spring onion, as you can see. And then the next day I will tend to either have this on a jacket potato or over rice or something like that. It's a very versatile, very affordable, delicious meal you can make this summer in the slow cooker. Smells gorgeous and tastes gorgeous. Next up, we have slow cooker chili con carne. This one is really worth taking 15 minutes in the morning just to do a little bit of prep. So you can dump and go this. You can throw all of the ingredients I mentioned into the slow cooker, stir and leave it for a few hours. But I do actually pre-fry everything. So I pre-fry the beef and I pre-fry the onion and garlic and the spices together, just because it gives it a much better texture, in my opinion, at the end of the day when you're eating it. So it takes about 15 minutes in the morning, and then once I've pre-fried the beef and the onions and garlic, I can just dump it in the slow cooker and go. So what you want to do is just add the spices to the frying meat. I do actually also add some plain flour in because it's going to thicken up throughout the day. So add in your beef, your onion, your garlic and your spices into the slow cooker, and then you can start adding the rest of the ingredients. So your stock cube, also your tin tomatoes and your red kidney beans. Give it a good stir. Again, this is one you're going to taste test halfway through the day. I do generally add quite a bit of spice in there, but also a bit of sweetener in there just to bring out the savory flavors. And this is what it's looking like sort of at midday, and as you can see, this is sweetener I'm using today. It's balsamic glaze, which is quite a sweet glaze but also has like a punchy rich flavor. And yeah, so simple. Now again, you can just serve this over rice, you can serve it with nachos, you can serve it in wraps. but I like to make it a little bit more bougie. So we like to actually bake our chili con carne in the oven after we have cooked it all day. So it's currently got a oh, I nearly dropped it then. It's currently got a really, really rich flavor. Tastes absolutely delicious. But if you take, again, another 20 minutes at the end of your day and bake it in the oven with cheese and nachos, you'll be doing yourself a great service because it is absolutely delicious. I picked up some lime tortilla chips from Lidl and they were delicious. They go so well with chili con carne because lime does go well with this sort of dish. Top it with lots of cheese and you're just going to bake it until it's golden on top and bubbling at the sides. Really, really worth that extra sort of 15-20 minutes. But as I said, you can actually serve it straight away from the slow cooker. It is also delicious like that. Again, this makes absolutely tons of leftovers. Unless you're feeding sort of 4 to 6 adults, this will make you lots of leftovers. So the next day we tend to have chili con carne again. I tend to make dinners actually where we eat them over 2 days just because it's so much better budget wise, and a lot of these foods do taste good reheated, so that's a good thing. But yeah, lots of fresh coriander on the top. Obviously if you're not a coriander lover you don't have to do that, and serve with sour cream, and yeah, delicious. Next up, we have a slow cooker curry. One of my favorite things to make for me and my children especially, is curries. You can hide so many vegetables in curries, and yeah, it's just a really wholesome, delicious meal that I love to make. And a vegetable curry is one of my favorites. My son doesn't even realize he's eating courgettes and sweet potatoes and onions and mushrooms. He just eats it because it tastes like curry to him and he loves it. So the first thing you're going to do is prepare your vegetables. This really is a dump and go one. So I just put everything straight in the slow cooker with a bit of olive oil and then all of your seasonings. If you're using sweet potato, I would use like a more spicy curry powder. You can use white potatoes instead. Add in your seasonings. I don't add too much salt at this stage just because most of this is going to be for my children. So and as I'm now feeding my 7-month-old, I don't add any salt into these sorts of meals. But you stir around these spices with your vegetables, pour in your tinned tomatoes. You can add a chicken stock or a vegetable stock at this point, but you don't have to. But yeah, this is it at the end of the day. It's very delicious. It smells lovely. Most of the vegetables are really, really soft, but also still formed, so you're still getting texture in your dinner. What I will say is fresh ginger makes a world of difference to your curries. If you could just get some fresh ginger from the shop, pop it in your freezer. You can grate straight from the freezer. So yeah, I always serve curries with the garlic and coriander naans you can buy in Aldi. They're absolutely delicious. I always have these in my freezer because you just never know when you're going to get a craving. They're so delicious. And there we go. I add double cream to my curries, or coconut cream. At the moment it was double cream because I couldn't find any coconut cream in Lidl. But yeah, absolutely delicious. I also serve mine with peas, not Orange, because he's not a pea lover. And there we go. Some naan bread on the side would be delicious with this. It's creamy, it's delicious, served with white rice. An easy win. And in the slow cooker, it's super duper easy. Okay, we have lasagna. This was something I was so nervous to make in the slow cooker. Our lasagna, we take a lot of pride in. We really like to make it delicious, but I've never made it in the slow cooker, and I have to say I'm so impressed with it. So the first thing I get started with is making the red sauce, which is the bolognese or the lasagna meat mixture. So start frying up your beef until it's completely browned, and you're going to fry that up with the onions and the garlic, of course. Also, I fry it with celery, and I did forget to chop up and fry this with bits of carrot as well, which I'm kind of annoyed about. By the end of the day, I only remembered. So yeah, make sure you add your carrots. But yeah, crush some garlic in there, and whilst that's cooking and browning, you're going to make your bechamel sauce, which is a roux basically. So butter, plain flour and milk until it's a nice thick sauce, and then you can add your cheeses. To the frying red sauce, I do go in and add the spices and herbs. I add Leon Perrins just for that richness, and I add mixed Italian herbs and lots of smoked paprika, and that's about it. To the bechamel sauce, the seasoning, I add a bit of white pepper just because it gives it that bit of kick where you can really taste the cheese a little bit more. It's hard to explain, but it's worth trying out. The cheeses I'm adding are mozzarella, cheddar and parmesan. The mozzarella I'm actually going to use to top the lasagna. Oh, red Leicester as well. But the red Leicester and cheddar is what's going to go into the bechamel sauce. Essentially, when you're making this in a slow cooker, you're going to prepare everything as you would normally, and then you're going to layer it in your slow cooker and just leave it for hours. Normally, what we would do is over the saucepan make the red sauce and cook that for quite a few hours on a saucepan, and then construct our lasagna and then pop it in the oven for about 45 minutes. So the kind of richness of the red sauce was created in the lasagna. Now, I was a bit worried about adding too much liquid because I didn't want the pasta to go too soggy. And I'm glad I didn't add too much liquid, because the thing about slow cooking it is the pasta is not as al dente by the end of the day because it has been cooking for much longer. Although I have to say it wasn't as sloppy as I would have thought. So it was like a really good in between, but just be careful not to add too much liquid into your lasagna. I normally construct with using red sauce, pasta, red sauce, bechamel sauce, pasta, and then repeat that. I know everybody does it slightly differently. Lawrence even does it slightly differently to how I do. The top layer, I just put lots of the cheese sauce and mozzarella, and that goes on the very, very top. One of my favourite things about making lasagna again is such a long lasting meal. So you can actually make this, and we have a huge batch left in the freezer, which we're going to eat this week actually as a really easy throw in the oven type meal. So yeah, if you are looking for something to batch freeze or cook for another day, lasagna is a fantastic one, because you really can just get it out and pop it in the oven and it just tastes unreal, even recooked. So here we are by the end of the day. It was so much better than I anticipated. I was really, really impressed with it. The pasta definitely goes a little bit softer than it would if it was just cooked in a dish in the oven for about 45 minutes. However, the sauce was so rich, so delicious. As it had been slow cooking all day, it was just full to the brim of flavour. I've left my ingredients list of all the recipes in this video, so hopefully you will see that, and if you do recreate any of my recipes, do let me know. This one really was worth the effort of putting it in the slow cooker. It was delicious. See you on my next video. Bye.